wall like it owes you rent money. You start punching the shit out of it. Make it nice and flat and tender. Then you got to roll that up into the egg wash, throw it into the breadcrumbs. You know what I'm saying? Get the really nice, high quality olive oil. Because if you don't have the high quality olive oil, again, you're just fucking up. Get the really high quality olive oil, put that in the frying pan, heat the frying pan up. You know what I'm saying? You just gotta get that nice and warm, just warm enough that it smells the whole house. You need to be able to walk into your living room and smell the olive oil in the frying pan, and that's when you put that heavily beaten down chicken into the frying pan. Cook that chicken until it's nice and crispy golden brown, and then pull it out. Pour that sauce on it and get down with that chicken parm. Melt that ton of cheese on top. If you ain't got the ton of cheese, again, you're messing up. Get your chicken parm game up. Trust me, you'll appreciate life a whole lot more when your chicken parm game is on point. Get a ton of that. Go ahead, heat your broiler if you got one. If not, heat your oven. Hopefully, if it's electric, you get that top burner. You know what I'm saying? Melt the shit out of that cheese. Melt that shit like it's nuclear holocaust. That's right. You need to melt that cheese so it's bubbling little black spots on it, and then you'll have that next level chicken parm game.
On that note, welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to another episode of What's Your Story. I am your lovely host.
It's not What's Your Story, it's what's in the news.
Oh, fuck.
That's how next level my chicken parm game is, guys. I just messed him up telling him how to do it.
Fuck.
Step your chicken parm game up.
Huh. Well then, on that note, good night, ladies and gentlemen.
That's what's in the news. Back to you, Poonsauce.
That's what's in the news. I don't know what chicken parm is, and I don't even know what fucking show we're doing. I know
All
what
right,
chicken
everybody.
parm is. I know what chicken parm is, don't worry.
You heard it first. You heard it here first. We need to get Poonsauce McNasty a good chicken parm in his life. Let's do this.
I wouldn't mind that. That would be nice. Because you can never go wrong with a good chicken parm. You can't.
Yeah, because apparently my description of a chicken parm is not a great chicken parm that he's ever tried, which means he's had shit.
There was parm from it.
Yeah, exactly. Stop eating at Olive Garden, that fake-ass Italian food.
I tried making it seem like it's far from it, but I said parm from it.
Hey, leave the dad jokes to Dan.
I don't want to.
Anyway, now that I got us all riled up about chicken parm, what you vaping on, Poonsauce? Because you just showed me some nice liquids, and I kind of want to know what you vaping them on.
I got a hair in my nose, so hold on a sec.
I was killing the moment.
No, having a dog with like obnoxiously long hair, it just gets fucking everywhere. It does.
I believe this.
So, what am I vaping on tonight? I got
hopefully not dog hair.
Why am I holding it from the tank? I don't know. I got my Cyclone Mods Evo DNA 200 with the gear, with some very little bit what I have left of Nazo by Transistor.
Oh yeah.
And then I got my white Copper Dreamer with the bloody mess on top.
Can't go wrong with that white on white action.
Inside of there I got the little bit I have left of my Supreme Sour Rainbow.
Oh.
I don't know where that drop came from, but whatever. And then I got my Lazy Vapor DNA 75C with the Flav 24.
Man, these Lazy Vapor mods just keep getting better and better.
And he's doing there. I got some vanilla bourbon custard by a buddy of mine. And then finally, always last but not least, well, it is the least. No, not the least, but it's the last. You get what I mean. It's always, see, I'm just having an off day. So this is going to be a fun show for you guys. And why am I always dripping everywhere?
Step your chicken parm game up and you'll feel better.
Jesus fucking Christ. Okay. Hold on before I dry it. Because it was dripping out the airflow. I got my Monarch, Aptomagco, Tormund, Recoil Rebel. And inside of there, like, oh, don't fall bottle. Okay, we're good. I got some fried Oreo.
Oh,
super steep.
OG in the glass bottle.
Yeah, you know it's old when somebody's using a glass bottle. That's what I love of kind of about it, because it's like, holy crap, that's nostalgia right there.
Yes, sir.
And that is all I got going tonight. What about you, Mr. Typhon?
All right. Welcome back, everybody. Here we go. Slamming this one in first. It's that Just Right edition MDX Unicorn. Decided to polish these threads because it's a great mod. All copper. It's awesome. Super match game. Always loving it. Inside of that, reconnecting with my great good friends over at Guardian Angel Vapor Company. This is that PIC, Pistachio Ice Cream and Caramel. So good. Trust me. If you like pistachio, you need that in your life. All right. Next is that Unicorn Vert, the Constant Contact mod. Y'all see this all the time. I love this mod. I vape it all the time. Got that DHD DAT money dough tip inside because, DHD is life. Finishing off this bottle of Boule Bolu.
It's not called Boule Bolu anymore. I'm going to put it right here now that my new name for that juice liquid thing is Boule Banana Fucker. And I'm just going to leave it at that. Yeah. I like that name, and it's because it's going to be fun to say. So Boule Banana Fucker, that's what I call it.
Banana Fuckers. Absolutely. Glad that I can finish this bottle because I just received 2 more in the mail. Shout out to Beecher. You a real MVP on that one. And lastly, got that Geek Vape Amit MTL tank on my little Tesla 85. Love this little setup because a single battery with an MTL will last you a couple of days, and you can't go wrong with that. And inside of that, got my favorite e-liquid of all time, also kicking it OG super steep action over here in the glass bottle.
Oh, holy crap.
That Skipper Milk Pie.
Look at that.
In a 9 milligram, because Primitive Vapor Company likes to keep things interesting, and sometimes 12 is just obnoxious. So they say, yeah, we're going to top out at 9.
Let's just keep it odd.
And I'll tell you what, 9 milligrams in this little MTL tank is fantastic. I enjoy this far more than any pod system I've ever used. And that's why it's still in rotation. I think this is going to be a daily banger for me. And I'm glad I made this decision. And that's it for me, man. Of course, I got my adult beverage.
Yeah. You got an adult beverage. I'm drinking on a Battery Steel Brewing. On-site number 1. From Portland, Maine. I got this in like a little care package when my boss went to Maine for like a week. So it's like I got a bunch of stuff, craft brews from Maine. So we're drinking some of that. So
Maine's only like 4 hours north of me, and that's where I hope to retire at some point in my life.
It's been delicious so far.
Myself, I'm enjoying a S'mores Imperial IPA. Imperial Stout. Because, hashtag adults like flavors. And
I was about to say, I think you misread because mine says...
I'm looking at your IPA. But yeah, because, hashtag adults like flavors. So, S'mores Imperial Stout, because fuck yeah. And this comes from a... Oh, God, I've already forgotten the name of the brewing company. Oh, wow. It's a strong beer. It's delicious. I have to send a case to Grim Green because it's that good. So that's my adult beverage.
That's like the perfect kind of beer to have around like a bonfire.
Absolutely.
Yep, that's what this beer is made for.
For sure. And it's strong. So I mean, 1 to start off the night, then you go down to some more sessionable beers, and you're in good shape. My wife, Lizzie Morris, in the chat coming through. That's by Southern Tier Brewing Company.
Okay.
Always looking out for me. Appreciate it.
Awesome. So, why don't we get down into... We have a couple topics to talk about tonight. First one, we're going to touch on a little bit. It's not going to be a huge discussion, but we wanted to get it out there a little bit. North Carolina is still... kind of showing us that the people running that state are kind of a bunch of fucking idiots. I'm just going to go right out and say that because if you haven't seen Fox News 8, it looks like the North Carolina Attorney General is deciding to file lawsuits against some e-cigarette companies. And if you go to that link and watch that video, you might get a little ragey because this so-called tobacco expert that they have talking in this school. Oh, where do I start?
Yeah, she's very ill-informed. She believes that everything that is in a vape product is toxic. And I mean that's just frustrating. I think the big takeaway from the story here is that well, let me backtrack for a second. Here in Massachusetts, my state attorney general has also gone after some vape companies. She's chosen to sue Juul herself. And let's be honest, that feels like par for the course right now. So I'm not really shocked when I hear about a state attorney general trying to file a suit against Juul. What really caught my attention today in this story was the companies that the attorney general Josh Stein of Raleigh, North Carolina, he's chosen to go after Beard Vape Company, Direct E-Liquid, Electric Lotus, Electric Tobacconist, Eon Smoke, maker of those Juul compatible pods that go up to like 6% and higher, I've been told, Juice Man, Tinted Brew, and Vape Co. So it's mind-boggling. The reasoning that they are going after these people is that they believe that all of these companies have been marketing to children. A direct quote from the article, I believe, is attributed to the Attorney General, Mr. Stein. Yes, it in fact is. Says that at the same time as our kids are headed off to school, we're hearing news stories about the health risks associated with e-cigarettes on a daily basis. Our complaints allege that these 8 e-cig companies are helping to fuel an epidemic of vaping among high school and middle school students. One look at their marketing materials demonstrates just how egregious their sales tactics are. With flavors like cotton candy, gummy bear, unicorn, and graham cracker, they're clearly targeting young people. To teenagers, the health and addiction risks of vaping are simply too high. That's why my office is asking the court to protect our kids by shutting down these operations in our state.
I want to point out something real quick that Mr. Addy Tooney just posted in chat. That's kind of mind-boggling to read. But it says, North Carolina tax dollars at work. 13,000 teen suicides, 8,000 teen alcohol-related deaths, and they spend all their money on vaping. So, yeah, I mean, my rebuttal to all of that is, for one, adults like flavors. Here's a s'mores-flavored beer. I taste graham in it. So, obviously, adults enjoy flavors in adult products. We know this. It's not even an argument anymore at this point. Mm-hmm. What this clearly is the money. Yeah. Let's all step back for a second and remember, talking about North Carolina, one of the biggest tobacco-producing states. I would say probably at least top 2. Yeah. I would debate that it probably is the biggest. It may be. I suspect Virginia probably beats them. Probably, yeah. But that being said, they rely heavily on the sale of bulk tobacco. So if people aren't using tobacco in general, pipe or otherwise, doesn't matter, they're losing money from that. And that affects their state economy dramatically. That affects people being able to work. That affects a lot of different aspects. In the same way that we talk about the decimation of our industry at the hands of overregulation, our industry is hurting their industry. And that state is so heavily tied to that industry for eons and eons now. Since the beginning of our country, they've been tied to that industry, that it's very difficult for them to disassociate from that now. It's the devil you know versus the devil you don't. And for them, it's a lot easier to be tied to tobacco money that they've been working with for hundreds and hundreds of years than it is to lose that source of tobacco income and now have to somehow figure out how to reconcile this world of vapor products that don't actually use this crop that they sell. It becomes a challenge for them that they don't know how to handle. And what's the easiest solution for them? Attack vapor products. I mean, tobacco's been such a high cause of revenue for that state, probably since that state's been an actual state. Since the beginning, it's been probably one of their highest top ways of revenue, and it's crazy. It's absurd that they like, I understand the mindset, because I understand the mindset of it's something that if you only know something, you're going to support it and try to take something out that's going to destroy the only thing you know of. Because so many people out in that area probably... the tobacco industry, I would say people who have grown up and their family has lived in the state of North Carolina their entire life, between like generation, I can probably guarantee that somebody in their family has worked either in the tobacco industry in that state or working out tending the fields. It's just one of those things to where that's how the state was pretty much built on. It was built on tobacco. Just like Virginia. Virginia was built on being one of the first states in this country and being built on growing tobacco. A lot of the foundations of these eastern/southern states, that was the foundation of their state, to make that state what it is tobacco. So we look back at all the stuff that's where we think about if the tobacco industry is really the main enemy. There could be different arguments made for both sides to where they're not the true enemy, because vaping needs the tobacco industry to stay relevant, if you think about it. And that I would consider that true, because if there's no cigarette smokers, there's no need for vaping. You need those people that are smoking so you can convert them. That's what I would think about it.
I mean, I agree with that, but at the same time, vaping also now exists as an opportunity for people to access nicotine without the dangerous repercussions of burning tobacco. I mean, I bring him up often. I work with a kid who had smoked when he was young in his teenage years, quit before vaping was really, an easily accessible thing to him. Did it cold turkey or whatever, and succeeded for many years. But now in his adult life, the stress of the work environment that we both are in has made him want to smoke again. And thankfully, he's mindful enough to go, vaping is less harmful. I'm going to choose vaping. I can take in less nicotine, get the effect I'm looking for from nicotine, and eliminate 95% of the harm. And realistically, it's probably an even higher elimination of harm, because he's not vaping like a smoker who has quit by vaping vapes. He's 2 or 3 plugs every few hours, unlike many of us who are probably ripping, a tube mech every 20 minutes, And so in that vein, he's probably got a 97% harm reduction from the fact that he's not a hot vapor. He's a less consistent vapor. And that is a beautiful thing. To me, that is a future I want to see, where vapor products exist if you want a way to take on that nicotine, but you don't have to, you don't have to choose smoking anymore. It's going to be there as your option now. Will we ever see it? I don't think so. I think that's a future outside of my lifetime. But that being said, I think it's a future we could have for our kids or our grandkids. And once again, it's another reason why we fight this fight, because we want that future for our kids and grandkids, so that maybe there'll be a day that they can choose to ingest nicotine, but they won't have deadly ways to ingest that nicotine in the same ways that we've done it with other products. You look at the legal cannabis states. We have legal cannabis so that people don't consume deadly cannabis products, which I would just like to point out, because we've been talking about it for the last several weeks throughout the community, that there's a lot of evidence now showing that the vaping lung disease problems are THC-based products, and likely not even THC, that they're just some illicit black market products. I don't really want to dig too deep into it tonight, because I feel like we've beat that horse to hell. What I would like to do is share a fantastic article for anybody who wants to really dig into it. This comes from a site known as Inverse. These folks did a fantastic piece of journalism on the cartridges. There was a sling problem actually showed the media the packaging and was like, it was these dank vape carts. This is why we have an association issue, because the product that is harming these people is known as dank vapes. And what this article goes on to explain is that all dank vapes is a marketing platform of packaging. And anybody, including us, could buy that packaging, put whatever we want inside of a cartridge, stick it inside that package and sell it. So we could go ahead and fill them with e-liquid if we wanted and start selling them in those dank vape packages, and that would be our prerogative. And that in and of itself is the big problem. I urge anybody who is remotely curious about cannabis products, about the effects that the black market has on us, go take a look at that article. It'll really arm you with a lot of great knowledge, as well as give you a deeper insight, if you're not into the cannabis world, as to what the black market threats are. And as I've been championing on Twitter and everything, this is a great reason for why we need to legalize cannabis nationwide, so that this way we can get illegal, unsafe products like these off the market and solve this problem altogether. If people aren't making illicit products in their bathtub or in their kitchen in unsanitary conditions, not doing the proper things, because there's a legal market out there, people won't get hurt, people won't die. People don't get sick from vaping anymore like they did 7 or 8 years ago, because we're not vaping bathtub juice anymore. It's not some liquid somebody made in a dirty pot in their kitchen anymore. It's all being made in clean labs. That's what we need on all of these fronts, including cannabis. So go ahead, take a look at that, and, arm yourself with some more knowledge, because that's what this is all about, is getting the knowledge, knowing your facts, and being able to combat the misinformation as you get it, which I think leads us to the next piece of major combat that we're looking at.
Speaking of some very interesting information, there's something that kind of came out within like the past day or so that has really caught my attention, because it is a very, very big thing. That is, if this happens, I don't know. This is something huge, because right now, two of the biggest names in tobacco, in pharmaceutical, I would say, working with pharmaceuticals and all that, Philip Morris and Altria. There's something going on between those two that I never thought I would see happen, but apparently right now there is a merge between these two companies in the works. And the reason for that is because it goes to a lot of business kind of side of things, to where they're looking at they want to merge all their stocks together, because they looked at their shares and how much they fluctuated on their chart. Philip Morris sank as much as 11%, when Altria gained 11% more of its peak. So what that means is their shares of Philip Morris have gone down, and the shares of Altria have gone up. So these two companies, I believe Altria was a part of Philip Morris at one time.
Opposite. So basically, for those who don't fully know, Altria Brands is more than just a tobacco company. They own a lot. Altria is one of the biggest multi-conglomerate corporations in our country. Many of the products in your household today are Altria Brands. And that being said, those Altria Brands bring that and those stockholders a great deal of money. Philip Morris was at one time an Altria brand, and I don't exactly have data. I'd have to look it up as to when they split.
They split back in 2008.
Okay, there we go. So back in 2008, they decided that it was wise to split their assets and go separate ways. But now, 11 years later now, they're realizing that the money makes more sense in that combined interest. Naturally, Philip Morris losing ground to Altria's owner, 35% stake in Juul has a lot to do with that. But on top,
$12.8 billion for a stake of it.
But on top of all of that, how do you protect your vital interests, right? You need to come together and acquire more businesses. And in this situation, I think that's exactly what we're seeing, is a consolidation of power, because it's a lot easier for the tobacco lobby to win at something when it's only 2 or 3 companies and they're all on a unified front than to be 17 or 20 companies still in a unified front, but not all working together with the same directives. And I think that's really what we're going to see from this, is Philip Morris marketing and everything starting to shift again, because they're going to start towing the line with what Altria wants again. And so if Altria says, well, you pushed your luck with that Marlboro menthol, it has a chocolate note to it, and I think we need to take that off the market, you might see that happen. It's frustrating, right? Because you see 2 of our enemies becoming one, and that feels like it's going to be dangerous. Mm-hmm. I don't know that it necessarily is going to make a difference, honestly. What it does is it puts a couple more vapor companies in Altria's pocket, because Philip Morris has blue, if I recall correctly. And so it puts another of Juul's competitors in the same wheelhouse. That also allows those brands to succeed. So that means now you can actually have the backing of these other companies to push blue and so forth. It's a natural product of big business. Everybody wants to diversify their assets. I mean, that being said, like I said, we all have Altria brand products in our home. If you own a craft product in your house or a Post cereal, you have an Altria brand in your home right now. And those are just a couple quick examples off the top of my head. They own alcohol brands, a bunch of the big names. So a lot of the companies you see on TV are owned by these big multi conglomerate type companies. And so that's the nature of big business in our country. So it's frustrating, because I feel like it's a you can't beat City Hall moment. The only hope we have is that the Trade Commission decides that would be, some step towards monopolizing an industry. And I don't think that's going to happen.
There's too many small businesses out there to where there's so many different companies to where if they tried to do that, it would take so much work to do. I mean, they have the money to do it, obviously, but it would catch the attention of so many different people to see what they're trying to do that they wouldn't be able to get away with it. And it's trying to look at this through Philip Morris's kind of perspective a little bit. I mean, throughout the years, we've seen the increased pressure on tobacco sales and cigarette sales. And right now, Philip Morris has taken a huge step and a big, huge leap on betting on their IQOS system. It's something they're not used to doing. It's a technology that they created themselves, which it's obvious if you don't know what the IQOS is, it's a heat not burn system with an actual tobacco product. And while supposedly the FDA is saying that device could become legal and could be sold in the U.S., they would say this year, probably by the end of either 2019 or 2020.
I mean, it's already here. It's approved. My wife has worked with somebody at one time who used it. Once again, I hate to have to give what I feel like is the opposition credit, but coming from a perspective of somebody who has tried to use dry herb vaporizers on a number of occasions in a portable manner, Philip Morris successfully made a portable dry herb vaporizer. That doesn't suck. It works for people.
I mean, you look in China. Look how popular the IQOS is out there. The IQOS has had opened its first stores in like Italy and all that stuff. They've been in like different like fashion conventions in like Milan and all that. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So we're looking at
nuts.
Trying to analyze the reconciliation of everything, and then pretty much looking at the revenue these two companies brought in. Philip Morris brought in $79.82 billion revenue in 2018, while Altria bought in $25.36 billion. So right now, if these two companies merged, Philip Morris right now has a market value of $121 billion in itself, while Altria has about $88 billion. Think about this. If these two companies merged into one back together like they were in 2008, this would be a brand, a company, an organization, whatever you want to call it, that would be worth over $200 billion. $200 billion of revenue that they can do whatever the hell what they want with it.
But now you have to keep in mind that we have to look at this from an investment perspective, right? Because that's really what this comes down to. This is about shareholders, and this is about making those shareholders the most money you can. Because when you're a publicly traded company, your job as the top echelon of these companies is to make sure that your shareholders make money. And when you take the two biggest tobacco companies in our country and bring them back together, that puts Altria's stock value up exponentially. And anybody who's now invested in Altria is going to make a fuck ton of money. And as I was discussing, I think it was with Stan in the Discord once, a lot of people probably invest in Altria and don't even know it. Because a lot of people with their 401k investments and things like that allow a investment broker to handle it. And oftentimes what they're going to do is they're going to make a bunch of portfolios, and they're going to put your money in safe bets and then some slight risks and some high risk. And one of the number one safe bet investments for all people in investing is going to be tobacco. Because if nothing else, tobacco has always had a steady decline in use, in which they were able to offset it by increasing cost. And so though net users go down, cost goes up equally, and what happens is a sustained value of that stock. Well, now we have a situation where an industry has come along that has flipped things upside down, and it's no longer a safe bet. And what's happening is we're merging these two companies to return to a safety net. We're going to have a safe bet in investing when we invest in Altria again, because the value through adding Philip Morris back is so high, it balances the damage that vaping has done to that industry. That's why I'm torn, right? I want to be outraged, but I'm not surprised, and I understand it. What upsets me is that there are still avenues for these companies to find a way to succeed. I don't think any of us disagree that tobacco companies deal in death. That's their job. They know this, and they continue to create a product that is harmful to its user. And beyond that, they continue to work hard to put down a product that has the same effect, but will not harm its user.
And we all know for a fact, with how much money these two companies have, they're going to easily file for the PMTAs. Easily. Mm-hmm. That's just pocket change to them. So we all know they're going to get through, and that's what they want. They're going to be... What we're going to start seeing happen is what this product these two companies make with like Juul and the blue Ecig and all that stuff. These things are going to be the only thing that are going to be around. You're not going to see any regulated mod, any box mod, any tube mod, no RDAs, no RTAs, no tanks, no sub-ohm tanks, no nothing. All you're going to be seeing is little cig-alike looking motherfuckers
No, they'll do pod systems. They're all going to
like looking things.
Phones. You know, like somebody shared it in our Discord today. They had come across a Logic pod system. I remember Logic, the crappy cig-alike that nobody wanted, that Blue was beating the hell out of. Well, now even Logic got it together and is making a solid pod system. This is what they do, and Poonsauce is right. This will allow these companies to get their products through the PMTA process as quickly as possible because they'll have the money to navigate it. And at that rate, they're going to turn around and be able to monopolize an industry because there'll be a hole in vaping and they'll be the only products available to fill it. And as always, as we often preach, we're going to be okay, and we know this. There are plenty of avenues. We all have friends inside the country, outside the country, all these different ways that we're going to be able to vape the way we like to vape, and we'll be satisfied. We'll be okay for a while until the prohibition is over and we're able to get our products back to some extent that we know. The problem is that in that time that those products are gone, you're either going to have unenjoyable vaping or no vaping. And so unless something like a Juul is satisfactory for your level of nicotine intake, you won't want to vape. You'll just continue to smoke, and that's unfair.
It's going to cause people to either who use the kind of product we're using now to possibly move back into smoking and possibly create more self-harm that's going to be done upon them. It's going to be, you're going to notice if this goes through with all these companies go under, and Philip Morris and Altria being the monopolies, I would not be surprised if we see cigarette sales increase again. It will happen. I can probably guarantee it will.
I'm certain of that. I used to have customers in the vape shop that when I would discuss this type of stuff with them, they outright said, fuck a Juul, I'll go back to smoking. They wouldn't even entertain the only vape option that would be available to them. They said, fuck that, I'll go back to smoking because I don't like the experience from the Juul. That is the circumstance. They get those people back. That's not fair. Don't get me wrong.
Products like the Juul, where it's a pod system, they have their place. They do. They've showed us all that it's the most effective way. I mean, because the convenience of it, obviously, that's what makes it most effective.
I've got a solution for all of this. I've got it. Here's our solution. Are you ready? So what we do, salt nicotine products, Juul pod systems, anything that has a salt nicotine in it has to become a restricted access product. And what I mean by that is, for example, Primatene, the over-the-counter asthma medicine. You cannot get that over-the-counter unless you go to a pharmacist and ask for it. They have to take it out of a locked case to give it to you because they need to control the access, because people have learned that you can use that product to make methamphetamine. And so they know it has a purpose in the medical community and people should have access to it, but they also know that drug addicts can abuse it and use it. So they've found a way to restrict access and make it so you have to present ID, etc., in order to have it, therefore mitigating the risk of it being abused. Fantastic. Do that with this high milligram salt nicotine products, because we already know from our own experience what salt nicotines are doing. Then your freebase traditional nicotine, as we like to call it, that gets restricted to only vape stores, a place where a dedicated, knowledgeable staff is there to guide its end consumer on how to use the product.
And in my opinion, a vape store does not consider something that sells both. I don't consider a head shop a vape shop.
I do.
I think they have their own place. But
all right, so hold on, let me clarify that.
Okay. Because
I just need to make sure that we're clear on this. There are vape shops who sell head shop stuff, and there are head shops who sell vape stuff.
Okay.
I don't believe the head shop that sells vape stuff should have it, but I believe the vape shop that sells head shop stuff should.
Okay, that's
because personally, I come from a vape shop that sold glass paraphernalia, etc., etc. Sold a lot of CBD product as well. You have to diversify your holdings in order to continue to make money. And so if you can get customers in who are there to smoke cannabis, maybe they still smoke cigarettes and you can get them to convert. That sort of thing.
Definitely, that makes
sense. So I'm okay with that as far as the mixed use is concerned. But I agree with you. If it's just a couple of burnouts behind the counter and they sell 18 cases worth of glass and then one little 4-foot case of vape stuff, no, that's not acceptable. But if they hold a tobacco license to be a vape shop, then absolutely. I don't think tobacconists, as it's considered, a smoke shop, should have it, because 9 times out of 10, that guy knows cigars and cigarettes. He doesn't know vape products, and he doesn't want to know vape products. It's why he's in a smoke shop. So, vape stores, brick and mortar vape stores, bang, pow, boom, done. Now, when it comes to online sales, we've got the verification methods. I think it's a small price to pay to sign, but even then, I think there are other circumstances that, can mitigate that as well with some of the high-tech levels of identification verification.
I mean, there's the ones where you have to actually send them a picture of your ID.
Right, like
that should be a nation standard by now for every company.
There you go. I just solved the problem that fast. In 3 minutes of discussion on an online vape show, I just solved the whole teen vaping epidemic for you. That fast. Boom. Done.
Solving an epidemic doesn't mean getting rid of it altogether.
Right. If I can find a solution that fast, a ton of other people can too. And it's been pitched time and time again. The problem is that our dinosaur politicians don't want to hear it. So there it is. I think at this point, I want to just start handing them the solution. Here you go. Here's your solution. Do this. I did your job for you. Can I have my taxes back now? Anybody? Guy in the back? Can I get my taxes back since I did my politician's job? No? I can pound sand? Cool. Thanks. Appreciate it. Enjoy my tax money. There it is, man. That's simple.
It's crazy how something the media and all these government officials have made to be such a complicated thing has such an easy solution. That most things in life, people overcomplicate when it has an easy solution. It's part of kind of the human nature of overthinking shit.
Yep. I mean, I'm going to hit you all with a word of wisdom tonight before we go. Right here, right now. This is a piece of wisdom I've carried with me my whole life. I try to remember it all the time, and I even fall victim to this line. I hope all of you remember this line yourselves and remember it as much as it applies now to every other aspect it can apply into your life. But if you argue for your limitations, sure enough, they're yours. That's the situation that we're looking at. We have a system that is arguing for its limitation. It's saying we have this problem and there's no way to fix it. When we can give them 110 ways to fix it and they don't want to hear it. They're arguing for their limitations, and there the limitations are. When you fight for what you know is possible, you can make it possible. That goes every aspect of your life. If you say I can't do it, then you're right. And that's the bottom line. So go out and do it. I don't care what it is. You want to fight for vaping? Fight for vaping. You want to go take an art class? Go take an art class. Because the minute you turn around and say, I can't do it. My voice isn't loud enough. They don't want to hear me. You're right. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. And that's the God's honest truth.
I couldn't even have said it better myself. That's how simple it is. Some of the the most complicated stuff is simple. And
Hashtag the angry hippie said that.
And a lot of these problems can be solved just by common sense, using your brain in a logical way to where something that people think is a problem I like that I see people within the industry itself coming out there and actually say, knowing this problem that they can solve. It's easily like the people inside the industry saying, okay, you think this is a problem, here's how to solve it. But no, these people just won't listen. That's why we're here. Though. We can inform everybody. We're here to inform everybody about what can be done, what we feel should be done, and hopefully what we say to you guys kind of spreads some knowledge to you guys. Maybe it kind of gets you guys pumped like we get pumped. Because you've been seeing it from weeks on end. We get pumped on doing this. We enjoy doing this for you guys because this is something we're both passionate about. This is right now. I'd say this is something we both live for. Like this is part of our weekly routine. This is what we're wanting Wednesday to get here because we want this show to happen. We want to be on here, letting you guys know about what's going on. It's that simple. If we can have the motivation to do this, so can you.
Absolutely. And I think that's a great way for us to wrap it up, guys. I mean, you have the power. You can do it. I say it every week. Don't let the bastards get you down. Be cool, don't be a dick. Keep it cloudy. I mean it. Don't let the bastards get you down, because this shit gets you down if you let it. Don't. You know what I mean? When you deal with it, just keep it cool. Don't become a dick. I know it's hard. You want to get on these people's asses and be like, you're a piece of shit. Don't do it. Keep it cool. Be cool. And that way we can keep doing this. That's what it's all about. Keep fighting a good fight, guys. I love everybody who tunes into us every week. You guys are real MVPs. Trust me. We know it. You know it. And if you don't know it, now you know.
On that note, guys, I'd like to thank everybody for joining us tonight. Also, just to give you guys a little heads up, there will not be a What's Your Story this weekend. I was supposed to have Mr. Adam Breezetones on Saturday, but about like a week and a half ago, I just remembered I have a wedding to go to on Saturday. So I will be not available. So the next time you're going to be seeing us on YouTube is next Wednesday for our next episode of What's in the News. So
Wednesday life, y'all.
So keep an eye out for that, everybody. I hope you guys all have a fantastic rest of your week. Safe weekend. I know the weather, depending on where you are, the weather's nice. Some parts it's humid. Stay safe. And like Sean always says, let's just fucking keep it cloudy. Have a good night, have a good night, guys, and just let's keep on vaping.
Stay sexy, YouTube. Had to go steal Twisted's line real quick. That's cool. I'll give him $1.